Hello, YouTube divers. This is WaterDive 122, and I want to welcome you all to another episode of Bands of the Alphabet. Last time we talked about my favorite band that starts with the letter I, and today we are going to be talking about my favorite band that starts with the letter J, although this is actually the first time a solo artist has been featured on this series, I believe. And that is Jimi Hendrix. And for solo artists, I'm going to go with their first names. I know a lot of people go with their last names, but I'm going to go with their first names here. So the Jimi Hendrix Experience takes my letter J spot. I mean, come on, man. It's freaking Jimi Hendrix. One of the greatest, if not the greatest, guitar player that ever lived. Obviously, he's the greatest left-handed guitar player. So, yeah, obviously, he's a 10 out of 10. Jimi Hendrix Experience is a 10 out of 10. Solid. I mean, the three albums that he had between 1967 and 1970 were absolutely amazing, which were Are You Experience, Axis, Bold as Love, and Electric Ladyland. All three of those albums are absolute classics and classic rock and roll. Absolute classics. With my favorite album from Jimi Hendrix being his debut album from 1967, Are You Experienced? There's a lot of great songs on that album, and one of those songs is actually my favorite song from him. It is the song Purple Haze. Now, surprisingly, they left off that song off the UK version, apparently. But it was put on the American version of the album. I don't know why they left it off or didn't include it on the UK version, but apparently not. But apparently so. Now when it comes to the lineup of this band, it's absolutely stacked. You have Jimi Hendrix, of course, on vocals and guitar. You have Noel Redding on bass, and you have Mitch Mitchell on drums, who is a freaking good drummer. A really freaking good drummer. It's absolutely freaking amazing. The Are You Experienced album is absolutely great. The Purple Haze song is crystal clear, perfect. And Hey Joe and Fire are two other Hendrix classics that are on this record. But of course, my favorite song is Purple Haze. Purple Haze, from the opening groovy riff to the very end, it's a freaking amazing song to listen to. So yeah, with that said, the Jimi Hendrix Experience takes the letter J for me. And now we get to the honorable mentions. Now, honestly, these bands were, like, one of these bands was a little bit close to taking the J spot, but, taking the letter J spot. But for me, they fall short of Jimi Hendrix. And here they are. So the first honorable mention I had, which was kind of a duh, was Judas Priest. I almost went with Judas Priest, but like Iron Maiden, I am not really that crazy about Judas Priest, even though I do like some of their stuff in the late 70s, early 80s, like British Steel, Screaming for Vengeance, Stained Class, I think is a great record. And of course, Painkiller from 1990. Great stuff there. Of course, Rob Halford. And I love the guitar duo of KK Downing and Glenn Tipton. Absolutely freaking amazing. So, yeah. Judas Priest is my runner-up. And then we have Journey, mainly because they created the album Escape. I think Don't Stop Believing is off of that record. I could be wrong, because I'm not really familiar with Journey's albums, but they have a lot of great songs. A lot of people love Journey. And yeah. And then lastly, I have the Jackson 5, which was Michael Jackson's first band, I believe, when he was playing with his four brothers, or cousins, or brothers, or whoever. But they're a freaking amazing band. And back then, Michael Jackson had an amazing voice, and he did when he was in his solo work in the 80s. in probably the 90s. He's a really good singer. Rest in peace, Michael Jackson. I mean, I'm not really a big Michael Jackson fan, but, you know. I do like a lot of his stuff, and Jackson 5 kind of originates from there. It's kind of what started it all for him. I was also trying to debate on whether I should include the Jackson 5 or John Cougar Mellencamp, because I really enjoy a lot of John Cougar Mellencamp's stuff, but I decided to just settle on the Jackson 5, I guess. But those could be interchangeable any given day, but for right now, it's the Jackson 5. So yeah, I said it once, I'll say it again. The Jimi Hendrix Experience takes my favorite band that starts with the letter J, or in this case, artist, because, you know, it's mainly the Jimi Hendrix show here. So yeah, and on the next video of bands of the alphabet, we will be going over my favorite band that starts with the letter K. So stay in tune for that. So with that said, thank you so much for watching, my fellow YouTube divers. This is WaterDive 122 signing out, ready to dive into more fun on YouTube. Thanks for watching.